Welcome back, True Seeker. Sadly, in the headlines, more familiar patterns. The deaths of Mike Williams, former star NFL receiver, made his name with the Tampa Bay Bucks. He was from Buffalo, New York, played his last season with Buffalo. Of course, Buffalo playing the New York Jets, now with Aaron Rodgers on Monday Night Football, September 11th. Talk about Mike Williams' death right before the start of this season and why they're saying it's a construction accident. Very interesting. And also in the news on the same day as Mike Williams' death was the son of Hugh Douglas, and Hugh Douglas just turned 52 years old recently. Of course, the Eagles won Super Bowl 52. The Eagles won that Super Bowl on the anniversary of Jerome Brown of the Eagles dying in a car crash. We're going to talk about the parallels between the death of Jerome Brown and Hugh Douglas' son down in the Atlanta area in Georgia. That's been a recent storyline, how the Eagles are drafting up all the Georgia players. Top college team becomes top NFL team. Again, an Eagles star loses his son down near Atlanta, Georgia. And both of these things in the news on September 5th, a date that can be written 9-5 like 95. Remember, this year's upcoming Super Bowl will be on the 95th birthday of the Vatican. I-95 goes from Baltimore to Philly. Philly had the I-95 freeway fallout recently. But the date, September 5th, can be written 9-5 like 95 or 5/9 like 59. And again, if you're new here, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. I became aware of this pattern of 59 and the premature deaths of mostly young black men, but also, older people, black women as well. This number is so often around these premature deaths. And again, in Gematria, slave, Negro, Rasta, blues, they all equal 59. Again, Detroit, Motown. Motown came out in 59. Black History Month ends on the awkward month, February 28th, except in a leap year. But that's the 59th day of the year. And the way you get those numerical values is just by taking the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, F is 6, so on. G is 7, up to Z, the 26th letter, so you just add up the letters as numbers. Slave would be S is the 19th letter, L's the 12th, A's the 1st, V's the 22nd, E's the 5th. You just add it up, 59. Just like Negro, just like Rasta, just like blues. Another way to decipher words is to take the alphabetic order with numerology, and you're still using the same order. It's just once you get to the double-digit letters, so like J, the 10th letter is not worth 10 anymore in the new cipher. It'd be 1 plus 0 is 1, so J would become 1. You do the same thing all the way up to Z, the 26th letter. It would become 2 plus 6 is 8. But if you write out Atlanta, Georgia, it equals 59 when you decode that way. Again, his son died near Atlanta, Georgia. But he did not pass yesterday. Reportedly, he died in the car crash Monday, September 4th. The 247th day of the year, while the nation's 247, again, born in Philadelphia, where his father played. But the death that was reported yesterday on September 5th, both of these in the headlines on September 5th, both stories broke on September 5th, but the death that was actually on September 5th was Mike Williams. So, let's begin with Mike Williams. Again, from Buffalo. If you're new here, Gematria. Let me put up the cipher system so you can understand how this works. Buffalo in Gematria with the most simple cipher 63. Mike Williams, who's dead, was from Buffalo. He played in 63 NFL games in his career, finishing his career with Buffalo. Buffalo's 27 when you take the alphabetic order with numerology. And Josh Allen, the star quarterback's 27 right now. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, Buffalo's 36 like his age of death, and in that same cipher, so is Bills. Again, grew up in Buffalo, finished his career with Buffalo. Now, from his birthday, May 18th, to his death, September 5th, he died on his 111th day of his age. And notice how New York, when you take the alphabetic order, is 111. And Buffalo's going to play the New York Jets on the day leaving 111 days left in the year, September 11th. Day in history in 2001 when the tragedy happened. And then the Patriot Act came, and then all of a sudden the New England Patriots were the greatest football team ever. And then it turned out the New York Jets, the only Super Bowl they've ever won to date, was back in the 1968 season. That was at the beginning of 69, but it was the 68 season. The same year 911 became the National Emergency Dialing Code and World Trade Center construction began in New York, only for the towers to be taken down with jets made by Boeing, which debuted out in Washington State in 68. Those jumbo jetliners did. 1968, same year 2001, A Space Odyssey came out. But don't forget Drew Bledsoe, the quarterback who went down number 11, like how the World Trade Centers look like an 11 and New York the 11th state. Drew Bledsoe played at Washington State University. And again, Manhattan Project developed nuclear energy, which began out in Washington State. Again, there's a reason for all of this stuff. It's deep. So, again, this man's dead on his 111th day of his age, right before the Bills played the Jets. And we see this year after year. Prime time comes around, and players connected to those teams are dead right before the primetime game. Sometimes they're dead the day of. The other year, it was Kevin Green at age 58, the night of Monday Night Football at the Steelers when Pittsburgh's 58. Mike Williams also played at Syracuse in New York, which is also 111, just for the record. And in light of the 104th NFL season about to begin, the 104th NFL season, Mike Williams is dead 104 weeks after his last ever NFL game. And the Mike Williams who's in the NFL right now, who's a young star receiver for the Chargers, his birthday is October 4th. And we're going to talk about the greater parallel between the two Mike Williams. Mike Williams' career stats: joined the NFL in 2010 with Tampa, played 4 years with Tampa, and then his last year in 2014 with Buffalo. Oh, shoot, hold on. I'm just going to disregard that for right now. In case you don't know this, the part about 59 being encoded in the word slave, Negro, Rasta, Blues, all throughout Black history. Again, in the Bible, Ephesians 6, the most infamous verses in the Bible about slavery are 5 through 9. In Ephesians 6, 5 through 9. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Obey them not only to win their favor with their eye is on you, but as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God from your heart. Serve wholeheartedly as if you were serving the Lord, not people, because you know that the Lord will reward each one for whatever good they do, whether they are slave or free. And masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Do not threaten them, since you know that he who is both their master and yours is in heaven, and there is no favoritism with him. So again, the verses about slavery. If you're new here, the 16th century, around the same time Bibles started getting printed, the Jesuits were created, English was standardized with the 26-letter alphabet, the Gregorian calendar rolled out named after the Pope, 52-week year for the Pope, the word Pope's 52. And again, as they say, all roads lead to Rome. The Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican. And with regards to the Bible, and these stories breaking on September 5th, 9/5, we're just days from September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year, which is the day the Jesuits were recognized by the Roman Catholic Church in history with the mission of stopping Martin Luther and the 95 Theses. Kind of like how Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on the 95th day in 1968, that infamous year, right before the Club of Rome was established. Club of Rome was established 3 days after MLK's assassination, April 7th, 68. But 95, huge number of the Jesuits. And funny enough, Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, his name equals 59, the reflection of 95. And again, Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him, and the last U.S. presidential election was the 59th. And Joe Biden was elected number 46, exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. We're Catholics 46. We've been able to forecast presidencies in the same way we've been able to forecast championships, because it's all being rigged by this same Jesuit cabal whose calendar system we're on. Now, we talked about where Buffalo and Bills equals 36. The Jesuits, And remember, the Jesuits got one of their 27 universities in Buffalo, Canisius College, just down the street from the Buffalo Tops where the shooting happened last May on Israel's birthday. And that was a huge Jesuit ritual as we covered then. We went out to Buffalo and educated about it. But the Jesuit acronym, IHS 36. And in Sumerian gematria, New York is 666. When you add 1 through 36 together, it equals 666. He was born in 87. Number of the beast has that gematria of 87, like the Catholic Church. Again, why certain men get chosen for rituals, it could be as simple as that. Might have the right birth year, the right birthday, the right numbers for the upcoming season. And again, like we said, he's also dead 104 weeks after his last NFL game, right before the 104th NFL season, where we've seen a lot of 104, especially in the death world, Ray Lewis's son and beyond. And again, his last NFL game was December 21st, 2014, 104 months. Lost at Oakland, who's hosting the Super Bowl this year, but now Oakland's in Las Vegas. Oakland's the Raiders. Then it was when he was in the league. If I was saying 104 weeks, I was misspeaking, by the way. Should have been saying 104 months. Last game was 104 months ago, and now dead right before the start of the 104th season. So, again, the Mike Williams, who's the current star in the NFL, his birthday, October 4th, 10-4. And to appreciate this, I'll put it up here on the side. If I write out Roman Catholic Church, notice how it has the 104, like the upcoming season, as well as the 94. And again, this year, the Super Bowl will be on the Vatican's 95th birthday, and we're talking about this death ritual on September 5th. And you know, last year we were educating about the very familiar patterns going on with the Bills franchise and the Jesuits. But both of their birth names are Michael Williams. Of course, they went by Mike, but they're both Michael Williams, which also has that 94. And see the 68 as well, the 6894. Again, popular number pattern. The word planet is 6894, and so is the word Helios. Helios is the Greek word for the personification of the sun. And again, we're talking about how the Catholic Church has taken all this knowledge and history. Again, the Greeks were into this letter number system, just like the Hebrews and ancient Jews. Again, all this stuff goes way back. But Helios is 6894, just like planets. And notice how Catholicism has that 68, like Roman Catholic Church has the 94. The word terror has the 6894. Notice how World Trade Center has the gematria of 94. Again, construction began in 68 on the World Trade Centers, and they opened on April 4th, 73, the 94th day of the year. The point I'm making is these numbers come together a lot. So, and then as it so often is when you're decoding, so I was already writing down the 6894 thing, and then I noticed that the current star receiver from his birthday to the September 5th death of the other Mike Williams, again, both play the same position, same name, but the Mike Williams just died on his 337th day of his age, the 68th prime number, you know, that as well. And as we'll get to, the other death on this day is related, and that guy also played with the Jets. And again, just going back to that year and so much focus right now on the Jets. Remember, we talked about New York's 111. New York's also 39. Brett Favre went from the Packers, ended up playing for the Jets while he was 39 years old. Now Aaron Rodgers is going to be in New York at age 39. And again, the Packers franchise founded by the Jesuit Vince Lombardi, who died unexpectedly at Jesuit Georgetown. But yeah, just so you can know more about this 68 number too. The word Catholicism, again, is 68. They're a sun cult, right? Solar system is 68. And like we said, in the 16th century, the solar system model agreed to, the heliocentric model, that's in the 16th century with the Jesuits, with the language, with the calendar. But solar system 68, like mathematics, and just the same numbers being used constantly over and over. Basketball, basketball is a 68 word. And think about it. the first March Madness, which was in 85, where basketball is also 85. The first March Madness was the Catholic school over the Jesuit school, Villanova over Georgetown. Again, you start looking at a lot of these star players, and you'll be amazed at how many of them in their schooling days, high school or college, played for high school or Jesuit programs. It's a very disproportionate number because there's not like a gazillion of those schools out there, but so many of these pro athletes went through those school systems at some point. Not all, but a very huge percentage compared to how small the Jesuit schools are in number in the nation. But Terry Pegula, who's the owner of the Bills, again, who he finished his career with. He's 72 years old right now. Terry Pegula is. And you see how Buffalo Bills is 72 in that same cipher, so is Jesuit order. They're saying this death is from a construction accident, right? Construction has the gematria of 72, 54, and 153, all in the same ciphers as Jesuit order. Same in all. And Pegula's that age right now. And the phrase construction accident has the 86 and 121, just like blood sacrifice. And Pegula happens to be born on the 86th day of the year, March 27th. But from Pegula's birthday, March 27th, to this death, was Pegula's 163rd day of his age, which is the 38th prime. And as we're always talking about, death 38, murder 38, killing 38, RIP 38. Murder by Numbers movie poster, which has just become more interesting in recent times. Again, stars Sandra Bullock and Ryan Gosling. They changed the E to the 3 and the B to the 8 right on the cover. Gosling equals 38. Gosling from the Kinks just died on the 38th week of Ryan Gosling's age right after the Barbie movie. This is years after they did this movie. Ryan Gosling was a young person when this movie came out. 2002, over 20 years ago. But this movie also came out 38 weeks after Sandra Bullock's birthday while she was in her 38th year of life. And again, we just see 38 in death all the time. And here, the owner of the Bills, again, this man's from Buffalo, finished his career there. Just happens to happen. And they saved the news for the... Well... It is big in the news today. That may or may not be fair, but it being in the news today does have the 58-date numerology. And, you know, Bills haven't been having so many headlines this offseason. But this story does happen right before. So, again, just anytime these stories happen, you got to follow what happens in the games, the storylines, if number patterns start persisting. But the owner of the Bills has the right name for the Super Bowl and interesting age for the franchise. And again, just a big death here right before the start of the season. That doesn't mean that they're Super Bowl bound, but it's a storyline to keep track of because the Bills are a front runner in the AFC. And again, we'll get some big clues right here after Monday Night Football. Again, Bills, Jets, all New York matchup on the big anniversary date, September 11th, the day leaving 111 days left in the year, as again, Mike Williams is dead on his 111th day of his age. And I'll be back all season, throughout the season, talking about the deaths of former players who are dead right before primetime games. This goes on every single year. And by the way, if you watched my video the other day on the Colorado Buffaloes with the 87 newcomers and the 87 points in the game, I skipped in that video that Buffalo's is 87 in Gematria. As we did talk about, though, Cowboys is 87, and the game was in Texas, where Deion Sanders used to play for the Cowboys. Another thing that I missed in that video about Deion Sanders is he began at Florida State as a player in 87. And here we're talking about the death of Mike Williams, born in 87. And again, all these things being connected. Deion Sanders is primetime. That's why my mind got triggered just saying primetime. But yeah, primetime, off to a big start. And again, this whole thing's a Jesuit web. They own and operate these leagues, and they complete these rituals. You know, it's like a trade-off. His loss is, you know, the next guy's championship or award ceremony or high honors or historic season. Len Dawson's record gets beat by Patrick Mahomes, and in the same game, his fiance's dad dies. You know, They had to leave the stadium. It's, it's just the stuff that they do is just so blatant, and I don't know how more people don't see it. But then once you break this down and understand why the code, and I mean, I've literally been here for a decade now. I've probably done at least 500 videos in the last 10 years on the deaths of young black entertainers. Probably at least 500, I'd say, in the last 10 years. Well, I'm thinking about more. I'm going to say at least 300. Over 10 years, there's probably at least 30 videos like this a year. Talking about the death of a black entertainer and how they put the 59 right on it. The one that just jumps out to my mind the most last year was the Michigan State player. That was on May 9th, though, the other 5/9 date. Okay, so Hugh Douglas' son. Again, both stories of relatively young black men being dead. Yeah, young black men, absolutely. Age 36 and age 20. What happens when you add those numbers together? But anyhow, both in the headlines on the same day. And like we said, the son of Hugh Douglas dies right after Hugh Douglas turns 52 when the Eagles won Super Bowl 52. That was the Super Bowl hosted by Minnesota. Minnesota equals 52. That was the Super Bowl that was all about the flag sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philadelphia, where 239 is the 52nd prime. And Trump took on the NFL flag protesters that year on the 23rd of September, 23/9. And Trump's birthday is the flag's birthday. And Colin Kaepernick first took the knee on the 239th day of the year in the preseason. And that history with the Bay in Philly, like how the Warriors and athletics were once in Philly, now they're in the Bay. A lot of coaches have gone between there. The Liberty Bell spent time in San Francisco. But anyhow, Hugh Douglas just turned 52. And his son died 13 days after his birthday, or on his 14th day of his age. And notice that Hugh Douglas, who has this connection with Philly, he has the same birthday as Kobe Bryant, right? August 23rd. And we'll get to the birth year 71 as well. But Kobe was also born August 23rd and connected to Philly like Hugh Douglas. And August 23rd is the 235th day of the year. The Society of Jesus 235, that's the Jesuits. But the parallels between Kobe and Hugh Douglas. So, let me see everything I wrote down here. Remember, Kobe was, remember the Eagles had the big upset over the Rams that year in the playoffs, and Kobe was there cheering for the Eagles. And we were loving that year because we saw early in the year with the September 23rd ritual why Eagles-Patriots looked like the Super Bowl, which is exactly what it was. But, and again, the Eagles won that Super Bowl on the anniversary of the death of Jerome Brown. Here, and just to get to that point, or hold on, let me pull up Jerome Brown real quick. Excuse me. The Eagles won the Super Bowl on Jerome Brown's birthday anniversary, February 4th. But from his death anniversary, June 25th, to this car crash, death of another Eagles-related player, Hugh Douglas' son, 71 days later. You see how car crash is 71 in the most simple cipher? 71 days later. And again, Hugh Douglas born in 71. Jerome Brown was born in 65, which is the Philadelphia number, as we call it. All the numbers of Philadelphia are super interesting, if you're new here. See how Philadelphia is 223, like the Synagogue of Satan? That's how many receptions Mike Williams had for his career, 223, in light of these stories being in the news on the same day. But the letters written to the Church of Philadelphia about the Synagogue of Satan in the Bible. And notice how Christian is 61 and 101. Again, Philadelphia is a Christian church in the Bible and Revelation. The book of prophecy, Philadelphia 101 and 61 like church, 65 like Christianity, 223 like the Synagogue of Satan. And with regards to them winning Super Bowl 52, again, Philadelphia is mentioned in Revelation, a book of prophecy, prophecy also 52. So Hugh Douglas just turned 52. And his son died 13 days after his birthday. Remember, LA equals 13. 41 when you run it the other way. Kobe Bryant, 41. 41's the 13th prime. Kobe dead at age 13. His daughter Gianna Bryant dead at age 13. Kobe Bryant dead at age 41, traveling from Catholic Mass on the Pope's 41st day of his age. Added together, 13 plus 41 is what? 54. 54, and they're dead the Sunday, again before Super Bowl 54, where Joe Montana equals 54, and it was between his two teams, the Niners and the Chiefs, and he wore 19 with the Chiefs, and they won it. and Mahomes put the game away. See how Bryant's 26 and Kobe Bryant's 41? Mahomes put the game away with his 41st pass and his 26th completion to number 26 for the big touchdown. Game over. Super Bowl 41, just like how the Eagles beat the Patriots 41-33 in Super Bowl 52. Tom Brady also won the Super Bowl at age 41 over LA. Anyway, Kobe lost his daughter at 13. He loses his son 13 days after his birthday, also his 14th day of his age. NFL's 13 and 14. For the record, if you spell out 14 as a word, it also equals 41. Let's see. Oh, yeah, and then the other thing is, Hugh Douglas, the numbers he wore in his career were 99. Jerome Brown, who died in a car crash, wore 99. So Hugh Douglas began his career with 99 with the Jets, then wore 53 for the Eagles. Pennsylvania's 53. 53 is a huge football number. 53-man roster, 53 in a third-yard wide field. The shape of the football in sacred geometry is called the Vesica Pisces, which in Gematria equals 53, and Gematria means geometry and language, and football is very geometric. But notice Hugh Douglas also wore 58 at the end of his career with Jacksonville. And here's Super Bowl 58 upcoming, and Jacksonville just had that very interesting shooting on the anniversary of the Madden tournament shooting. And again, they said that Madden shooter from years ago in Jacksonville was from Baltimore and was a Buffalo Bills fan. Those were all key details in the story that they put out there. But 58. Remember, Kobe Bryant has that 58 in his name as well, just like Los Angeles Lakers. Kobe's from Philly. Last year on Kobe Bryant Day, Len Dawson died. Remember, it was exactly 172 days before the Super Bowl last year that Len Dawson died on Kobe Bryant Day. Kansas City Chiefs 172. Mahomes ends up beating Philadelphia, Kobe's team, in the Super Bowl, just like Mahomes won the Sunday after Kobe died. You know, one big sports star who's recently retired, dead and gone, like he says in the end of the Black Mamba Nike short film done by Robert Rodriguez. Kobe says at the end of the film, right before the helicopter explodes, legends are forever. And that four, you got to emphasize that in light of what they did with Moses Malone, Daryl Dawkins, and Kobe Bryant. Daryl Dawkins died at age 58, 17 days before Moses Malone died. And Moses Malone is also 58 and 41, just like Kobe. Again, all three of them drafted out of high school. Moses Malone and Daryl Dawkins dead right before the start of the season. That was Kobe's last season. Then 4 years after their deaths, Kobe dies. And again, Exodus 4, Moses' staff is turned into a snake. Kobe was 4 when Moses Malone won the finals in 83. And see how Daryl Dawkins' name equals 60? Moses Malone died at age 60. He was drafted out of high school by Utah. Kobe finished his career with 60 points against Utah. And the name Malone's also 60, like Karl Malone, the other Malone that you think of when you think of Utah. So are some not nice words, but anyway, I'm getting off topic. I'm just reminding how the code applies to all this stuff, and if you learn it, you can see through what's really going on and how some of these athletes are true Manchurians that were born and bred to be and raised to be exactly what they were on the world stage. Again, Kobe came from NBA household. Joe Jellybean Bryant, drafted by the Warriors, originally out of Philadelphia. Drafted by Golden State, though. That's where they were in the Bay Area when he got drafted. And Golden State equals 41 like Kobe retired 41 years after his dad got drafted. Anyhow, another parallel. Hugh Douglas played in 82 games for Philadelphia. The word game itself equals 82, so does the name Bryant. You think about the NBA with the 82-game schedule. You think about Michael Jordan, who's got 82 in his birth numerology paths. And again, just Philly and the Suns dead in Georgia, and they just drafted up all the Georgia players. Another age-old lesson. The Suns 20 years old. T is the 20th letter, and a lowercase t is like a cross, and people get crucified on the cross. And notice how the word cross, when you take the alphabetic order with numerology, is 20. So is the word death. So is the word time. The cross measures time for the pagans. Seasons is 20, and the Catholic Church began as pagan. Again, the Catholic Church has been pagan longer than it's been about Jesus Christ. In 274 AD, they began celebrating the sun in the sky's birthday. on 1225, and then 46 years later in 320 AD, they began celebrating Jesus, the Son of God's birthday, on December 25th. And again, 274 AD and 320 AD, look at it. Isus hominum salvator, the Jesuit motto, 274, and verse 266, like Pope Francis is the 266th Pope, the first Jesuit, also 122 like the name Pope Francis, 85 like Templar, like they got the Templar cross right next to the IHS letters, and IHS is 36, where we began with Mike Williams' death. But, yeah, anyway, we're making the point about just 20 again. And father, son, religious themes, Philadelphia, biblical city, the only physical description of Jesus in the Bible, that of a black man. And again, there are other interesting ciphers outside of the base ciphers. And again, Septenary and Chaldean are paired ciphers that you want to look at together. But in those ciphers, you do get the Jesus Christ value. Jesus Christ is 59 and 36. Going with Mike Williams, dead at 36 on the 5th day of the 9th month. So, again, this is the Society of Jesus that's doing this, that gave us the calendar, the language, named the days of the weeks after the planets, got you worshiping on Sunday when they began as a sun cult. By the way, 1225 is the square root of 35, and that's Catholic 35. Like JFK, the first Catholic president, number 35, killed at age 46. Joe Biden, the second Catholic president, number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age, after sacrificing his son at age 46 in the big Jesuit ritual. Decades after his first wife and daughter he got rid of. But, and notice how Catholic and car crash are. The exact same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. Again, this latest Eagles car crash tragedy, 71 days after Jerome Brown. And Hugh Douglas born in 71. Oh, and by the way, Hugh Douglas was drafted in 87. Drafted in 87, just like Mike Williams, who's dead, is born in 87. And again, all in the same news cycle. And go back and see when we were covering last year the mega 87 rituals. It was the day of Bill Gates' birthday. Bill Gates' birthday, like everything in the news was 87. Just like how Bill Gates' name is 87. And you know that thing that he wants everybody to get? His headquarters is right across the street from the Space Needle. But that thing he wants everybody to get, it's got that, in the Sumerian cipher, it's got that old 666 in it. See? See how it's got the 666, like number of the beast in Gematria equates to 87, like Bill Gates, who's done about a gazillion rituals with that number too. But like last year was the worst ever. It's like, okay, everything is 87 in the news. Great balls of fire, singers dead, everything. It was just like overwhelming. I couldn't keep up that day. I was like, geez, like the 5th time I feel like I have to go live about the latest 87 ritual. My God, what's going on this year? It's getting crazy this year. And you know why it was probably that way in 22? Think about it, you guys. I mean, where's the number of the beast taught about? In Revelation. And how many chapters are in Revelation? 22. And Bill Gates is, he's doing like the most serious, he's a part of this thing. Oh, he's a part of this thing, man. If you guys don't know, they did their first pandemic simulation exactly 666 days before they declared it. You guys should go back and watch that. Clade X it was called. Clade X 113. And what day did they declare the pandemic? March 11th, the same day they locked down the NBA, the 113 league. And notice how the name of the pandemic, also 113. Run it the other way, 94, like Roman Catholic Church. And who had the first jab mandate in the history of the world? Look it up. It was the Catholic Church. First ever vaccine mandate came from the Catholic Church. Doesn't it make sense? We're speaking their language. We're on their calendar. Our education system is literally modeled after theirs. The original university that still exists is at the Vatican. And school and university both equal Jesuit order. Again, you guys, we've been trained from a young age to be exact. They've molded us into the type of people they want us to be. Consumers, for the most part, most people pretty low skills. They want an easily controlled society. keep them spending on stuff, keep them in this little money system they've invented, keep them occupied and entertained so they're happy enough. But then it's like all part of a big sick manipulation run by a bunch of psychopaths who apparently think they have to kill black men by a code every time the opportunity comes around. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking about it so much. I still got the kids. He was like in his 20s probably. Might have been in his 30s. But I still got this. Ever since I went out to the Mariners game, I just keep hearing this Christian kid over and over about how he doesn't need to worry about any of this because he believes in Jesus. That's what he came back at me with. He's like, oh, yeah, you know all that? Well, what do you know about Jesus? And he's like, see, all I need to do is believe in Jesus. I can go in there even if they are sacrificing people. I was just like, this guy's fucking crazy. This guy thinks it's okay to support this MLB even if they are sacrificing people as long as he believes in Jesus. Again, you guys, it's because his mind's been warped since the time he's a little child. Never questioned anything, just went along. That's the problem with our society, just marching along to orders from authority. Never really thinking about anything, you know? This happens every year, right? Some guy might turn off. That happens every year. Players die at the start of the season. So what? That happens every year. Never thought about it, how they just die every year, right at the start of the season, right when the playoffs are rolling around, right before their teams are in prime time. It's just the same thing every damn week. So anyway. Somebody in the chat says, are high school sports rigged? I don't think all high school sports are rigged, but there's definitely some rigging in the high school level on some of the stuff that makes more the big stage. But not all high school sports are rigged. So, is there politics though? Pretty much everywhere at all high school level, you got politics. You might not even have the best players playing on the team because of the high school politics. So yeah, RIP again, and tomorrow we'll do our first big live stream for the NFL season. If you guys want to look into more about these premature passings, sadly the way these sports leagues are structured, some of these ritualistic deaths are about the upcoming games, future matchups. You know, it's just like last year, the Super Bowl. 1 year to the day of that game, a year to the day of last year's Super Bowl, Kansas City over Philadelphia. The first ever Eagles quarterback to face the Chiefs in a NFL football game, he died 1 year to the day of the game. You know, and this stuff goes on year after year. Just like how Len Dawson's death was synced with the game. All right, but yeah, tomorrow, big live stream. We'll start early tomorrow. We'll start close to noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, many hours before the game. We'll talk football. We'll talk the upcoming season. We'll talk other things sports related, I imagine, in that block of time. Upcoming World Series, baseball postseason's near. And if you want to join us, again, the links are in the description of every video. For the Patreon for sports content, $5 gets you all the written content, which is daily. And if you want to upgrade, the $11 tier will get you all the video content as well as and live streams. And again, first big live stream tomorrow. And the notes for week 1 for the NFL should be posted later today. So the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs will have the perform the Black National Anthem. I know the NFL's been doing that in recent seasons. I think that's become an NFL tradition in the last 3 or 4 years. I got to go back and look at what year was the first year they did it. But yeah, again, the NFL definitely helps emphasize the racial narratives that the media plays out, and that's how we've been able to successfully pick a lot of these Super Bowls. I mean, the year that I got put on the map because of USA Today writing the article with their big lead trying to make fun of my work, I had locked into the racial news and racial sports narrative. I said, there it is. You know, the Denver White Broncos are going to beat the Carolina Black Panthers led by the latest Huey P. Newton. Again, Cam Newton, born the same year Huey P. Newton died, the founder of the Black Panther Party, who founded the Black Panthers in San Francisco, where Super Bowl 50 was. And the 38th state, Colorado, won the Super Bowl on the 38th day of the year, beating the same team that lost in Super Bowl 38, the Panthers. Panthers 38 in Gematria like Colorado. Gold equals 38. That was the golden anniversary. San Francisco 50. Again, just perfect rituals. So, but yeah, we'll leave it there, you guys. And again, all roads do lead to Rome. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and shares the knowledge and helps get the word out there. The goal really is to empty out these sports stadiums. You know, people got to stop cheering for these teams in these leagues. We need to tear these leagues down. And put, I'm not saying tear down sports. Let's get rid of these corrupt leagues and let's come back with a new sports system that's not rigged and it's not overpriced and it's not all about money. That's what these leagues are also about, just putting that idea in a lot of people's minds that isn't really there. You're not going to be able to play on that football field like some of these guys because these guys were born and raised to be there. Their spot was there from the time they were born. They were born for this, literally being raised like thoroughbreds for this. They got everybody chasing the American dream, big celebrity money. They got all people's heads just like full of these ideas that don't play out for most people because they're not seeing through the illusion. All right. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Until next time.